So how many of you love washing dishes? Yeah, me either. So this week I thought I would help y'all out and myself out by saving some dishes and coming up with 2 really delicious one-pot meal ideas. Hey y'all, and welcome back to the farmhouse. I am so excited that you decided to stop by and watch today's video. I'm really excited for this first recipe. I think it's gonna be easy, delicious, and I actually think we can have it done in like 30 minutes, maybe a little bit more, just depending on how your stove is. But we're making a homemade red beans and rice. So to get this recipe started, we need to chop up an onion, a bell pepper, and some smoked sausage. I wanted to give the onions and bell pepper some time to saute in that pan before we put in the sausage. And that's mainly because we're wanting those to get soft, but this sausage is already fully cooked. And we're basically, when we put this in the skillet, we're basically just warming it up. But the way I'm cutting this is I'm just cutting it into thin little rings. And let's give these sausages about 7 minutes or so just to brown up a little bit. Let's add in our kidney beans. These are drained and rinsed. 1 1/4 cup of uncooked white rice. You'll want about 1.5 teaspoons of Cajun seasoning. The recipe also called for some cayenne pepper. I didn't have any of that, so I just put in a couple sprinkles of red pepper flakes, some tomato paste, and lastly, you need 32 ounces of chicken broth. I'm going to give this a big stir. We're going to want this to come up to a boil. Once it starts to boil, we'll turn the heat down to a simmer, and we'll let it go for about 15 to 20 minutes. You're just waiting for the rice to soak up this liquid. Y'all, this recipe is a big hit in our house. It is so good, great flavor, comes together in no time, and plus, since it's made in one pot, you have minimal dishes, and Tyler approved this recipe and said he would definitely eat this one again. So y'all, this second recipe I think is going to be just as easy to cook as the first one. It has a lot of the same similar steps to it. I think we can have it done in about 30 minutes or so. We are making a unstuffed bell pepper skillet. So if you like stuffed bell peppers, I think you're gonna love this recipe. We do need to get started by browning up our ground beef, and then of course we need to chop up some bell peppers and onions. The original recipe calls for 1 medium onion, but the only onions I have are these really tiny ones. So they're like barely the size of my hand. So I'm gonna go ahead and just cut up 2 of these. Now, since this is a unstuffed bell pepper recipe, I want to make sure it has lots of yummy bell peppers, so I'm going to put in 3 large bell peppers. Go on and add these into our ground beef, and then we'll let this sit here and cook together for about 7 minutes or so. Let's give this some seasoning. I'm just using garlic powder, oregano, salt, and pepper. We need to add in 2 tablespoons of tomato paste. Let's give this a stir. We want to get that tomato paste incorporated before we put in the rice. I'm just going to leave that blooper in there today, y'all. The blooper. I forgot what I was saying. But I think they understand. Add in 1 can of diced tomatoes. White rice, and water. And just like with the recipe from last night, I'm just going to stir this up. We're going to put it on probably like a medium to high heat just till it starts to boil. Once we reach a boil, we'll turn it down and let it simmer for about 20 minutes, just waiting for the rice to absorb this liquid. This recipe turned out really well. We just topped it with a little bit of cheese. And like I said earlier, if you are a fan of stuffed bell peppers, you will love this recipe. Thank y'all so much for hanging out with me in the kitchen this week. If you enjoyed these one-pot meal ideas, make sure you give me a big thumbs up. If you are new here, I would love for you to subscribe and stick around. Leave me some comments down below if you try these and if you love them, and I will see you next time. Bye.